honestly, we had to do this one. I'm not gonna lie, we had to do this one. Like, it just felt incomplete not to do it. So here I am going to the previous Poppy Playtime video theory from Game Theory. Wow, that sounded a lot more awkward. Anyway, we're going back in time a bit, kind of, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to the game theory from a week previously, or two, or three. I don't know for sure. Anyway, we're just gonna go back to the previous theory from last week's Poppy Playtime uh, theory. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? Right? Yeah. No. No. Actually, that's a piss poor explanation. The previous Poppy Time Playtime. Oh, we're reacting to the previous Poppy Time Playtime. Oh my gosh, I'm effing this up. We're reacting to the previous theory of Poppy Playtime from last Saturday that Game Theory has made, that they mentioned. This is it. This is the one. I got the time messed up. I thought it was an hour. It was something else. I effed up. Okay, I'll admit. I effed up and I mixed it up with something else. That's on me. Yep, yep. If anyone makes any comments that you really should have pay attention to the time thing more, I'm not gonna blame you. That's on me. That was dumb of me to to not recheck it to make sure that it was the correct one. That's on me. Not gonna lie on that. Not gonna make an excuse. That's on me. I goofed. But either way, we're doing this now. Probably gonna be a bit spoiled, but it will explain some more stuff from the previous week version, previous week's Poppy Playtime theory. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you do, hit the like button below, hit the subscribe button, support the channel, support the content provided, and so on and so forth. Hit the notification button, be notified immediately when new video comes out. And yeah, if there's any videos you'd like to recommend that I should react to, put it down in the comment section below, and I'll react to it as soon as possible. And the link to this video is going to be down in the description below, so be sure to give Game Theory some love and support for the video that they made. Now, with this all said, let's get right on into this one, shall we? Let's go.
I have solved the ending of Poppy Playtime. Chapter 4 may have only been released a few weeks ago, but hidden beneath its gruesome and glitchy surface are a few small details that not only tell us where Chapter 5 is heading, but how this entire franchise is...
Wait, Chapter 4 was glitchy? Like I said, I only know bits and pieces about it. I haven't really played it. I've been meaning to, but I just want to do a recording of it, but I can't because my computer can't just handle that kind of thing. I'm gonna see if I can try to do it again, but I might just wait till Chapter 5 is about to come out.
going to end. Spoiler alert, this ending is not a happy one. Hello Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that molds to whatever new lore Poppy throws at us. And there is a lot of that going on in Chapter 4. Mob clearly saw the success of Chapter 3 and said, let's do that again, but more. We've got more characters, more collectibles, and the most important thing, more game-breaking bugs.
I should open with my P coin.
Open!
I'm wealthy, let me in.
Mob Game said, that's a bug if you have your hands full of P coins. Sorry, sad face.
I found the P coin bug.
But while the gameplay may be broken, how is the game lore doing? This is the 4th installment after all, and that's about the time where the indie horror lore can get a bit wonky, shall we say. Well, I'm happy to report that it seems like Mob is learning from our FNAF frustrations, because this chapter is full of something we theorists crave: clarifying details. Things like, what is Poppy's true identity? Yeah. Well, it's now confirmed that she is in fact Elliot Ludwig's daughter.
I wish you were here, Dad.
Not gonna lie, clarifying details is like a big thing for when it comes to the lore. Like, if we're not giving a bone, we're just gonna keep arguing with each other, and that's just gonna make chaos. Unless there's something to confirm it and help each other and solidify what we're thinking, then yeah, it's just gonna be a big mystery.
When you were running this place, you always knew what to say.
Is Ollie really the prototype? That answer is now a resounding yes.
What did you do with Ollie?
I'm right here, Poppy. For you. I'll always be here.
We called both of those, by the way, but truly, this chapter is stacked with answers to questions that we've had for a long time. So much so that this video is going to be the first in what I anticipate will be a 3-part series exploring all of them to figure out what's coming down the Poppy pipeline. So if you don't want to miss all of that, you'd better smash that subscribe button faster than Doey could smash up Pianosaurus. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm still mad about that. Such wasted potential. But to kick things off, I wanted to focus on one of the biggest questions you can ask about a franchise like this. How is it going to end? We've seen it with other franchises, how they just go on and on and on and on. So it can seem like an impossible task. But thanks to a few very specific, potentially off-handed details, I believe Mob has accidentally given the entire game away. I've spent 2 weeks falling down a rabbit hole that is deeper than Playtime Co. could ever be. And that in itself is a theory for another day. But once I finally landed at the bottom, I realized that we can not only figure out how exactly Chapter 5 is going to end, we can also learn what's going to happen beyond that, regardless of whether Chapter 5 is going to be the final chapter or not. So grab your Omni hands, theorists, because I'm going to show you things that Mob never intended for you to see. If you haven't had a chance to play the latest chapter, here's a quick recap so that we're all on the same page. The game picks up right where we left off at the end of Chapter 3. We head down an elevator shaft with Poppy, who tells us about the allies that we need to find. Upon doing so, we come face to computer with a new experiment. Experiment 1354. Although, while their body may be new, their voice is oh too familiar at this point. Harley Sawyer, the Doctor, the villain that has been teased throughout the entire Chapter 4 ARG. He then sends us down into the prison where we encounter Pianosaurus, who, as I've mentioned, dies immediately thanks to another new experiment, Doey the Dough-Man, a creature made from Play-Doh with 3 kids inside of him rather than the usual one. Doey leads us to a place called Safe Haven, where we reunite with Poppy. She tells us that her plan is to send the whole of Playtime Co. sky high, killing the prototype and every other toy in the facility in the process, while also trying to save the orphans the prototype has hidden in his lab. Doey is hesitant because he doesn't want to kill all of these poor innocent toys. But regardless, we head out only to be chased down by Yarnaby, Harley's lapdog, who then immediately dies. I'm beginning to see a pattern here. After many puzzles and an annoying battle with an underwhelming Barbachops, we once again come face to screen with Harley, shutting down his systems and putting an end to him once and for all. His final words to us are that we saved no one. But that doesn't matter now. We get to fulfill Poppy's plan and set the explosives to destroy everything. But they don't destroy everything. They only destroy Safe Haven and all the toys inside. In a fit of rage, Doey transforms into a horrifying salamander thing for some reason, and he tries to kill us, only for us to flip the tables and kill him first. Guys, I think Poppy might have a Marvel villain problem here. Great villains all killed off in the installment they're introduced in? Shame. Anyway, after defeat...
I'm gonna admit that does sound like the case. Gonna be honest about that part. But I can admit that I don't know about this plan. Like, even if we didn't know about the prototype being Ollie, then yeah, it's a bit sketchy of a plan. Because to do such a plan, well, yeah. That's basically telling everyone, hey, we're just gonna do this one bit and, like, save everyone who hasn't been turned into a toy, but we're gonna kill ourselves and everyone else. What do you say? But we're not gonna tell you about it until, like, the last valuable second. That honestly what it sounds like, in all honesty, and it's really kind of twisted in its own effed up way, because despite being toys, they are kids. And I'm not really comfortable with the whole fact of we're gonna sacrifice this amount to save the others, but at the same time, they're technically toys and they have cravings and they need to, yeah, That's like the big issue here.
Meeting Doey, we find Poppy in the vents, just as the prototype shows up to, quote, take her home. Poppy runs away, leaving Kissy and us behind as the prototype blows up the vents. But instead of killing us, we end up at the entrance to Playtime's lab, the place where the prototype and the orphans dwell. Like I've said, there's a lot going on in this chapter, hence multiple videos. But today's mysteries start in the place we visit the most during our playthrough, Safe Haven. According to a note, this place was designed with blast doors and its own electrical generator in order to keep the Playtime Co. security staff safe should an experiment get out of hand, which I think we can all imagine happened quite a lot. All of that has made Safe Haven the perfect spot to hide out from those same monstrous experiments like Yarnaby, Pianosaurus, the Doctor, and the Prototype, alongside our new allies. Now, we all knew we were getting an ally or two in this new chapter. Mob made that very clear on the game's Steam page, and once the Doey trailer came out, it felt pretty clear who that was going to be. Little did we know the full amount we actually have waiting for us here in Safe Haven. Yes, we have Doey, Poppy, and Kissy, but this place is full of toys, and none of them are trying to eat my face, which is a nice change of pace, but it did raise a few questions for me. Up until chapter 4, the only toys we'd seen firsthand were either dead or were looking to make us dead. Even Kissy wanted to snack on us until Poppy stopped her in chapter 3. I mean, I know I look like a snack, but this is not the time. In fact, Poppy is the only one we've known who wasn't trying to do that. That was part of what made her unique. She was the only experiment to act like a human with no aggressive tendencies, at least not towards us. But now, we're being shown that she wasn't the only one. Right at the start of the chapter, we can find journal entries amongst the pile of dead toys for a child called Riley. They're a sweet kid who lost their parents and so ended up at Playcare. After some time, they were, quote, chosen by Playtime, which they thought meant getting adopted, but oh no, they won the grand old prize of becoming a living toy. What's interesting though, is we get to see entries from after their conversion. Riley struggles to write at first, however, they do eventually figure it out. And with that, we can see that they are fully aware, fully themselves, and not an aggressive monster. Later on, we can find a VHS tape from two guards talking about their various duties.
No, we get in the east. Toys banging on the walls, crying for their parents. Know what we get in the north? Things. Whatever they aren't people anymore.
The East is lower security, full of toys that are crying for their parents. They are aware of who they are and have memories from their life before, while the North is for the dangerous monsters, the bigger bodies that we faced throughout these chapters. Reports on Pianosaurus and Yarnaby both talk about their lack of cognitive function and
I see. So that means that the toys we meet at this haven are the more sane one. I don't know. It could mean that the ones in the north section are the ones that got heavily experimented on and manipulated, or they have very troubling backgrounds. Like for example, like they have some personal issues, like they were hurt physically by other people and such and all that, or some were sad, very sad and depressed and all this and all that. Basically, it could mean that the north part like had a lot of mental and emotional issues, while the east ones were from perfectly normal families and all this and all that, and they were just normal, and they have the only thing where they act completely like humans.
Animalistic tendencies. So it would make sense that they need to be in a higher security area. But then, what is the difference between them and some of these other, less monstrous experiments? Simple. Time. As time went on, things did somewhat improve. Huggy is a monster, but can at least listen to orders. Kissy is also a monster. She's only not eating us because, like Huggy, she's following orders. Catnap is kinda able to communicate. Mummy is fully functioning, albeit with a bit of a temper towards adults. adults. As time went on, the experiments improved. By the time we get to chapter 4, there are a bunch of toys, including Doughy, Experiment 1322. All of them are starving, and yet they do not look at us as if we are going to be their next meal. It seems like Playtime Co. did figure out a way to keep the orphans' humanity, as well as figuring out how to make them fit into much smaller bodies like Poppy. Something which Harley mentioned during the ARG was a challenging task, leading to Boxy Boo and the larger, bigger bodies in the first place. However, there is one small hole in this line of thinking. If these later and smaller experiments are supposed to be more human-like, why then have we had a bunch of mini Huggies, Smiling Critters, and Nightmare Critters, smaller experiments that are implied to have been later in the process, acting like rabid monsters? Was Harley just really bad at his job,
No.
failing to keep all these children's brains intact? I don't think so. Was it because while they were doing the experiments they weren't listening to the chillest beats on the internet? It's entirely possible. While Barbie exists in this universe, I'm not sure whether the soothing tones of our lo-fi channel Lo-Fi do. If they did, I'm sure these guys would be way calmer, able to enjoy all the new music that drops every single Monday. Alas, they cannot. But you definitely can.
Yeah, no, not even gonna go into that bit.
Check out the link in the description, or he's not surgically incompetent, stream your music from. But seeing as
Okay.
the Doctor doesn't have this and he's not surgically incompetent, I don't think either of those explain why these new toys are still rabid. Although I am convinced that Harley definitely has something to do with why they're acting like this. I'm sure that while I've been showing clips of Safe Haven, you guys have noticed the wall art all around the place. I mean, it's pretty hard not to, right? The devs were really trying to make sure we noticed it, and so I did my theorist duty and gave it a closer look. A lot of it has the kind of messages we might expect to find. Help us, we will be saved, and a massive mural of Catnap putting the orphans to sleep. But the thing that caught my eye the most was this little side room known in the game files as the Memorial Room. Inside, we see a bunch of poppies and candles around the place, paying respects to those they've lost, which, according to some of the writing, is around 40 toys, 40 children. And the walls in this room are also painted with murals, and those actually give us more insight into this story of death. There are two sides of the drawing. On the left, we have characters highlighted in blue. Some alive, including Kissy Missy, but others are dead. On the other side, we have characters including Boxy Boo and Pianosaurus highlighted in red. These two colors, along with the inclusion of the bigger bodies we know and recognize, is showing us two opposing sides within these toy factions. Blue is the side of good, the side of Safe Haven, while red is the side of evil, the side of the Doctor, and thanks to a special VHS tape, the side of our favorite villain, the Prototype.
You know I'm still your best shot at cracking that secret. A sound observation. Yes, you have made yourself useful.
There is a literal war going on between these two factions, and the good, non-rabid toys are losing. But there is one more side in all of this, one that they believe is going to even the odds and help them win. The one character they've highlighted in white, surrounded by phrases like, "We need you, Poppy." We've talked in previous theories about the amount of religious symbolism in Poppy Playtime, with Catnap's worshipping of the Prototype, and the Doctor's poem in the ARG reflecting Psalm 23, and this is another example of that. While red and blue are typically ways of showing opposing sides, white represents something pure, something holy, like Poppy was supposed to be the savior to these toys. She was the perfect toy, the daughter of Elliot Ludwig. Surely she could do something to help them, but she didn't. She ran away, and because of that, we see those murals of Poppy crossed out. Outside the Memorial Room is another drawing of Poppy crossed out with questions like, "Where are you?" But the biggest thing we see are the words, "She left us." If you go and listen to the toys around Safe Haven, many of them talk about whether they should trust Poppy. Why would this time be different?
Can we really trust her this time?
Poppy has left them all with a feeling of betrayal and hurt. This is where the Doctor comes back into the picture. There's a note you can find called the Propaganda Flyer, and it reads as follows, quote, "Poppy leads you to the grave. You fight not to survive, but to die. See where this has gotten you. It's not too late to change your mind. Join us, and we will spare your lives. You have 24 hours. We will not make this offer again." This sentiment about Poppy being trouble, we saw shared by Harley Sawyer during the Chapter 4 ARG. In one of the many email exchanges he claimed implying that her path leads to ruin. Plus, this new note is located just outside the Doctor's territory, which makes it seem like this is coming directly from him. He is seeing the weakness in the group left behind by Poppy, and so he is trying to exploit that weakness. This is why I believe we're seeing so many of these smaller, newer toys appear rabid. They were starving, losing the fight. Their savior had left them, and so they were in need of a new one. Prototype was willing to step in and fill those tiny doll-sized shoes. He gave them a clear option: turn their back on Safe Haven, give in to their base instincts, and lose whatever humanity they had left. Just like how Kissy stopped trying to eat us because Poppy told her not to, these toys are now trying to eat us because the prototype.
Okay, that makes sense, but is that really it? I mean, I don't know. I feel like there should be more involving the matter, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like there should be more said, basically. It's just leaving a bit more blanks than I would like, but at the same time, I guess it makes sense. Guess? I mean, it's a hard guess. I'm not gonna lie. Really, it's leaving some questions, in all honesty.
Prototype told them they could. Eating their fellow toys and other human remains may seem gross at first, but when it's that, or dying of starvation, or worse, the choice is sadly pretty obvious. And then, if they held out for long enough, maybe, just maybe, the prototype would save them. Honestly, I kinda don't blame the toys for making that choice. I've always been suspicious of Poppy, as longtime viewers of the channel will know at this point. And right at the end of the chapter, she proved me right. She ran away again when things got tough, leaving us to die. She may not have run to help the prototype like I predicted, at least not yet, but she's definitely hiding something.
How much do you know?
When your supposed savior acts like that, of course the opposing deity becomes quite appealing. And the prototype does actually follow through on their threat, blowing up Safe Haven at the end of the chapter, killing anyone left that opposed him. But that doesn't mean that those who switched sides are safe either. This chapter also makes it abundantly clear that he is as much of a liar as Poppy is.
I thought we were gonna leave. Prototype says we can't leave. Not now, not ever.
Just like we saw in the CG5 song from chapter 3, the prototype promised freedom to these toys. That's what they thought the hour of joy was, but it wasn't. He was just lying to achieve his own goals. Him getting the toys to leave Safe Haven and join his side, it's the exact same thing. And he'll betray them just like he betrayed Poppy, which I guess means it's up to us to step in, be the savior that neither Poppy nor the prototype could be. We will save the orphans that the prototype has tracked down here, and maybe we'll even be able to save some of the toys who changed sides out of desperation. Here's what I would say if the game hadn't already telegraphed exactly what's going to happen next. See, as I was thinking through this whole Civil War storyline, I went back through some of the dialogue in the game, and I came across this line from Harley before his boss fight.
Do you hear it? I do. A bell. For whom does it all ring?
This isn't the first time Harley has spoken like this. He's always been a fan of speaking poetic in a greater-than-thou dramatic sort of way. But this time, it's different. It's not just a poetic styled phrase. It's an actual piece of poetry. The phrase "for whom the bell tolls" comes from the poem "No Man is an Island," published in 1624. It's about how all of humankind is connected, that the loss of one life doesn't just affect that one person. It affects all of us, because we are connected. If one dies, a part of us dies too. So when we hear the bell of death sound, it's pointless to ask who it's for, because at the end of the day, it's for us. This feels fitting, given it comes just before our big boss fight with the Doctor, who says he hears the bell and asks who it's ringing for, knowing full well that we are about to put an end to him, but that we should maybe reconsider because his death would be a loss for the whole of mankind. His scientific endeavors, his discoveries will now be lost. However, while this poem is one of the first places the phrase "for whom the bell tolls" was used, it isn't the only time, nor is it the most famous. That honor goes to the book of the same name by Deadpool, Is that you?
What?
Oh, no, it's
The-
just Ernest Hemingway. My bad. Anyway, this book is about a guy from America called Robert. He goes to Spain to fight in the Spanish Civil War being fought by the Republicans and the Nationalists. He sides with the Republicans, who currently are losing the
Okay.
fight, and so joins them in the mountains where they're hiding away. His main companion throughout this story is a woman who has lost her parents and was, taken advantage of by the opposing side. The Republicans plan to turn the tides of this battle, blow up a bridge. But there's deception from within their own ranks, and because of that, they lose some of the bombs and their way of detonating them. Now, where have I heard this before? Oh, right. It's literally the game we're playing. Our player character is an outsider to this toy war. We side with Dowie and Poppy, who are losing the battle and hiding out in safe haven away from the Doctor and his forces. Our main companion, Poppy, has lost her dad and was lied to and tortured by the Prototype, the leader of the opposing side. Ollie was supposed to be our friend, but it turned out to be the Prototype lying to us, and so we ended up losing the bombs and not igniting the gas as we planned. But let me tell you, theorists, when I first read this, my mouth was almost as agape as a smiling critter. These stories...
I'm not gonna lie, that actually sounds way too convenient. So that would mean... Oh, wait, did all the bombs go off? No. Well, that would suck.
Are practically 1-to-1, minus one crucial detail: the ending. We are yet to see the ending of Poppy Playtime, and as we end the chapter heading into the Prototype's lair, the labs, it seems like that ending is coming up pretty soon. But For Whom the Bell Tolls does have an ending, and given how closely aligned everything else has been so far, I have a feeling that means Poppy is going to end in a similar way. In the book, Robert decides to go on the final assault of the bridge as planned, just with some minor alterations. Because they lost their main means of detonating the bombs, he's going to have to be right up close in order to set them off. He does manage to do so, but shrapnel hits his comrades, he gets fired upon by the enemy, and he suffers an injury so great he is unable to retreat with his team. He tries to remain awake as long as he can in the hopes that he can maybe shoot down a couple of enemy soldiers to allow his friends to escape, but he knows that his death is inevitable. The bell now tolls for him. At the start of chapter 4, Poppy told us how the red smoke can be ignited, and that the bombs were our way of doing that. However, we've now lost our primary means of detonation. The Prototype took the bombs and used them on us instead.
I've taken the liberty of retrieving those explosives from the Foundation. Thanks for collecting them.
But that doesn't mean we're out of options. In chapter 3, Catnap was spewing the same red gas, and with one shot from our electrified grab pack hand, he too burst into flames. You may be able to see where I'm going with this. Much like in the book, our main character is going to fulfill their promise to Poppy and blow up Playtime Co. using the red smoke. We're just gonna have to be close enough to use our grab pack hand to do it, sacrificing ourselves so that Poppy and the orphans can escape. Only that isn't actually how the story ends. I mean, it is. The book's ending is purposely left ambiguous, but the story the book is based on, the real-life history, that continues on. I mentioned earlier that this book is based on the Spanish Civil War, which ended in 1939. And if Poppy Playtime is following that history, our heroic sacrifice may be for nothing. Despite the good fight put up by the Republicans, ultimately it was the Nationalists that won the war, with the leader of the movement, Francisco Franco, not only surviving the entire war, but going on to lead the country until 1975, 36 years after the war ended. We may put up a good fight. We may even be able to destroy Playtime Co. like Robert destroys the bridge, but I believe that ultimately we'll be shown that Poppy is once again misinformed. The Prototype won't be stopped by a simple explosion, and in the end, while we may die and we may save the orphans, the Prototype will survive and continue with their plans for this world. What are those plans exactly? Well, that's what I plan on exploring in one of our future theories. So again, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it, and in the meantime, friends, remember, that's just a theory. A game theory! Thanks for watching.
World premiere.
Okay. Sorry I wasn't that talkative this time around. I was trying to absorb everything, and honestly, now I have a conclusion to what's going on, and that is, well, I don't think it's gonna go out exactly that way. I mean, I do know one thing, and let me just tell you, a lot of people on social media don't be quiet about it. It's the fact that, yeah, yeah, Huggy came back and all that. Like I see so much thumbnail about that. It's so crazy. Like I don't get a break from it. YouTube, TikTok, other media posts is that I'm not even a part of that. I just hear and all that from others. Yeah. Uh Try not to be spoiled about this kind of thing and I get spoiled no matter what. It's crazy, right? But yeah. Overall, I can admit the attention's grabbed, all this and all that, whatever. But I don't think it's gonna end up the way he just said. As interesting as that would be, I highly doubt that'd be the case. Let's put it this way. The prototype has the last two remaining bombs. Alright, and we know that his body is very unique. We've never seen it, but we've seen a shadow design of it. Again, thumbnail, talk about it, and whatnot. No one's really quiet about it. But I can say for sure that it's an interesting design. Other than that bit, I don't think we're gonna have backup from Poppy from like chapter 5. I think it's just gonna be only us. And the only thing we probably can do is that we destroy everything. And the thing is, I don't think anyone's alive down there because the doctor is making it sound like, sure, we are gonna get rid of him and all this and all that, but it's not gonna change anything in the end. So what I'm thinking is, what we're gonna do is practically worthless. Everything after we take care of the prototype is gonna be for nothing. Everyone's dead and all this and all that. So we just need to make sure everything burns and is destroyed. There is nothing left. How we do that, I don't know. Maybe we'll have one bomb left and we'll have only a countdown and we're gonna have to run. And maybe that's what chapter 6 is, complete runaway from the whole thing before the bomb goes off. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. I can't say for sure. But yeah. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Nevertheless, that's my thoughts on chapter 4, which, well, not chapter 4, chapter 5. How I think chapter 5 is going to go. But yeah. Other than that bit, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you do, hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button, support the channel, support the content provided, and so on and so forth. And I'll see y'all next time. Tell me what you think about what chapter 5 is going to have in store for us, or what you think is going to happen in the comment section below. And with this all said, again, y'all enjoy, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!